Welcome to the Midnight Library. Tonight, you arrive here seeking something. Perhaps you don't yet have words for it, but somewhere beneath your thoughts, beneath the noise of your day, you feel it. A restlessness, a hunger that never quite gets satisfied. You've been checking, scrolling, refreshing, waiting for something to arrive on that glowing screen. A notification, a like, a comment, some small signal that you exist, that you matter, that you've been seen. Every night, the same quiet desperation. Every morning, the same hollow feeling when the numbers don't match what you hoped they would be. But what if I told you that this hunger, this constant need for validation from strangers, is not new at all? What if 2,000 years ago, in ancient Rome, philosophers understood this exact struggle and found a way through it? Tonight, in this library built between centuries, we will explore an ancient idea that might transform how you see those little hearts, those thumbs, those fleeting numbers on a screen. We'll discover what Marcus Aurelius knew about approval, what Epictetus understood about freedom, and what you might learn about peace. The rain is falling. The candles are lit. Your phone? We'll place it somewhere safe, somewhere you won't need to reach for it. Prepare yourself. We begin. Picture yourself here, now. You're sitting at a long wooden desk in a library that exists only at night. The shelves rise up into shadow, filled with books that have waited centuries to be read. A single candle burns beside you, casting warm light across the grain of ancient oak. Outside the tall arched windows, rain falls steadily through darkness. You can hear it, rhythmic and patient, the way rain has fallen for all of human history. The sound asks nothing of you. It simply is. On the desk before you, a leather-bound journal, still blank. A brass key that unlocks nothing you've discovered yet. And your phone, face down, screen dark, surprisingly quiet. How long has it been since you looked at it? 5 minutes? 10? Can you feel the pull? That small magnetic ache in your chest? That whisper that says, maybe something arrived? Maybe someone noticed? Maybe. This is where we begin. Not with philosophy, not with wisdom, but with this feeling, this particular modern restlessness. Imagine a student who used to sit at this very desk. Let's call them Alex. Every night, Alex would come here to study, to read, to think. But within minutes, sometimes seconds, the phone would appear, just to check, just to see. A photo posted 3 hours ago, 23 likes, but why not more? It was a good photo. The lighting was perfect. Why did Sarah's post get 67 likes? Another check, 10 minutes later, 25 likes now, better. But that dopamine spike lasts only seconds before it curdles into, is that all for 3 hours? The post from yesterday, the one they were so proud of, has stalled at 41 likes. It's not going viral. It's not going anywhere. And somehow, impossibly, this feels like a judgment on Alex's entire existence. You know this feeling, don't you? This strange mathematics of self-worth, where your value somehow equals the sum of little hearts from people you barely know, where a post with low engagement feels like social death, where you refresh and refresh and refresh as if the numbers might suddenly reveal you're actually loved. Psychologists have a term for this now: external validation dependency. The need for approval from outside yourself to feel okay inside yourself. It's not vanity exactly. It's deeper than that. It's a kind of outsourcing of your peace. But here's what's remarkable. This struggle isn't new. Let's look more closely at what actually happens. Not in theory, in reality. In your reality. Pattern 1. The morning reach. You wake up. Before you've fully opened your eyes, before you've taken a conscious breath, your hand moves, almost by itself, toward the nightstand. The phone appears in your palm like a magic trick you've performed 10,000 times. You're checking. For what? You don't even know yet, but you're checking. The Stoics would ask you, in this moment, what are you really looking for? Connection? Or evidence that you're connected? News? Or proof that you're still part of the story? Validation? Or rescue from the silence of your own mind? Your notification bar is like a small river of cravings. Every ping says, look here, be here, not where you are now. And you obey, not because you choose to, but because you've trained yourself to. Pattern 2, the phantom vibration. You feel it against your leg, or in your pocket, or somewhere impossible. The buzz that isn't there. Your brain has learned to hallucinate the phone calling to you. Psychologists call this phantom vibration syndrome. Your nervous system, wired so tightly to the device that it creates sensations that don't exist. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus would recognize this immediately. He taught that we are not disturbed by things, but by our opinions about things. Your phone doesn't control you. Your relationship with your phone controls you. And what is that relationship really? Is it a tool you use or a master you serve? Pattern 3. The 3 a.m. scroll. It's late. You're exhausted. Your body is begging for sleep. And yet, there you are, scrolling through faces, through lives, through curated moments of other people's carefully edited existence. You're not even enjoying it. You're numb, bored, but you can't stop. Buddhist psychology has a word for this: tanha, the craving that can never be satisfied. Not because you're weak, but because you're feeding a hunger that food can't fill. Every like you receive creates a tiny spike of dopamine, a little reward. But it fades in seconds, and then you need another, and another. You've become, without meaning to, a rat in an experiment you didn't sign up for. But these are just a few ripples on the surface of something deeper. What happens to a person, to a self, when their sense of worth is outsourced to an algorithm? Think about it. Really think. When you post something, you're not just sharing, you're asking. You're saying, am I okay? Am I interesting? Do I matter? And then you wait, hoping the answer comes back yes. But here's what the Stoics understood. When you ask other people to tell you who you are, you become whoever they need you to be. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Your estimate, not reality, your estimate. Every time you refresh that page, you're asking reality to estimate your worth. And reality, in the form of distracted strangers on phones, in bed, half watching TV, is a terrible judge. There's something else happening too, something more subtle. When you live for external validation, you stop trusting your own internal compass. You stop knowing what you actually like, what you actually think, because you're so busy calculating what they might approve of. You edit yourself, not just your photos, yourself. You become a performance, a brand, a curated highlight reel. And somewhere beneath all that, the real you is still there, wondering why you feel so alone, even when you're getting likes. The Zen tradition has a teaching about this. They say, the tighter you hold, the less you have. When you grip so tightly to the need for approval, you squeeze out the very thing you're looking for. Peace, presence, the quiet confidence that comes from resting in who you already are. For the Stoics, peace begins the moment you stop bargaining with reality. You stop saying, I'll be happy when I get 100 likes. You stop negotiating with the universe for signs that you're enough. For Zen, peace begins the moment you stop bargaining with your own mind. You stop saying, this thought about being unloved is true. You just watch it, like watching a cloud pass. And slowly, you see, the phone isn't the enemy. Likes aren't the problem. The problem stretches far beyond a glowing screen into the very way you experience yourself, into the story you've been telling about what it means to be acceptable, to be loved, to be real. The question becomes, can you love yourself even when no one is watching? Can you exist without an audience? Can you be enough, just as you are, right now? That is the question the Stoics lived by. And tonight, it's yours. Let's return to this library, this quiet room, this single candle burning beside us. The Stoic philosophers, Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, they didn't just think about these things, they practiced them daily, like exercises for the soul. They had a practice called premeditatio malorum, imagining the worst. Not to be pessimistic, but to be free. Epictetus would say, imagine everyone ignores your work. Imagine you're completely misunderstood. Now, can you still do the work? Can you still create, speak, exist without the applause? If you can, then you're free. If you can't, then you're a prisoner to opinion. Here's the radical part. The Stoics believed that nothing outside you can hurt you. Not insults, not rejection, not being ignored. Only your judgment about those things can hurt you. Someone doesn't like your post, that's just information. It becomes pain only when you add the story. This means I'm not good enough. This means I'm failing. This means I'm alone. But what if you didn't add that story? What if you just noticed, oh, this post didn't land? Interesting. And then moved on with your life, your worth completely intact. That's the practice, not pretending you don't care, but deeply understanding that your value doesn't live in other people's thumbs. The Stoics had another practice, the dichotomy of control. They would ask themselves constantly, is this in my control or not? Your effort, in your control. Your intention, in your control. Your choice to create something true, in your control. Whether people like it, not in your control. Whether the algorithm shows it, not in your control. Whether you go viral, not in your control. And here's the beautiful part. When you release what you cannot control, all your energy floods back into what you can control. You stop managing perceptions. You start making things that matter to you. You stop performing for strangers. You start living for yourself. You stop needing rescue from outside. You find you were never drowning. This forces us to reconsider a simple but radical question. What in this exact moment is truly under your control? Now, let's practice something together, a small ritual, something you can return to every night. First, I want you to imagine your phone, wherever it is right now. Feel the weight of it in your mind, that small rectangle that has become almost part of your body. Now, in your imagination, I want you to see yourself gently, very gently, placing it on the wooden desk in front of you, here in this midnight library. Watch the screen. It's still glowing faintly. Notifications might still be arriving. Little flashes of light. Little calls for your attention. But you're not picking it up. You're just watching. The way you might watch fireflies in a jar. Interesting, but not yours to chase. Now, imagine the screen slowly dimming, the light fading, until it's just an object, a piece of metal and glass. Nothing more, nothing less. It has no power over you that you don't give it. Good. Now, bring your attention to your breath. Don't change it. Just notice it. The air moving in, the air moving out. This breath that happens whether or not anyone likes it. This breath that requires no approval. Listen to the rain outside these windows. It's been falling this whole time. Patient, indifferent to being noticed. It falls in forests where no one sees it. It falls on oceans that don't count it. The rain doesn't need you to validate it. And you don't need the world to validate you. Now, I want you to repeat something quietly in your mind, not with effort. Just let it sit there like a smooth stone in your palm. I do not have to answer every call of my mind. Again, softer. I am allowed to rest even when the world keeps scrolling. Feel the candle beside you. In your imagination, feel its warmth. It burns whether you watch it or not. It gives light without asking anything in return. You are like that candle. Your worth isn't in being seen. Your worth is in the light you already are. Research from behavioral psychology suggests that when we create a small, sacred ritual around releasing our devices, a moment of conscious choice, we begin to rewire the compulsion. We become the author of our attention again, instead of the algorithm's audience. Tonight, this ritual is yours. Every night, you can return to this library, this desk, this candle, this rain. You can place the phone down, watch the screen dim, and remember, you were whole before the first like. You'll be whole after the last. There's a question the Stoics asked that might seem strange at first. They would ask, who are you when no one is watching? Not, who do you want people to think you are? Not, who are you performing as? But, who are you? In the silence, when the audience leaves. What if the quiet between notifications isn't empty? What if that's where your real life actually happens? Imagine for a moment a world where you post something and never check how it did. You create it, you release it, and then you move on with your life, completely unbothered by the response. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? And yet, that's freedom. Real freedom. The kind the Stoics died protecting. You see, Marcus Aurelius had all the approval a human could want. Emperor of Rome, worshipped as a god. And still in his journal, he reminded himself, you don't need other people's approval. You need your own. What if you gave yourself that approval? Not as arrogance, but as basic self-respect. The way you'd respect a friend. The way you'd honor someone you loved. What if tonight, right now, you decided, I am enough. Not because I've proven it, but because I exist. For these ancient traditions, Stoicism, Buddhism, Zen, the deepest freedom isn't out there. It's not in getting more likes, more followers, more proof. The deepest freedom is in how you relate to each thought, each urge, each ping. Can you hear your mind say, check your phone, and smile at it? Like a parent smiling at a child asking for candy? Can you feel the urge to refresh and just let it be there without obeying it? That space between the urge and the action, that's where you live. That's where your power lives. Picture a version of yourself 6 months from now, a year from now, who doesn't check compulsively anymore, who creates things and lets them go, who knows bone deep that their worth isn't for sale. That version of you isn't far away. They're not a fantasy. They're just you with practice. You with one more night of choosing peace over performance. The most profound shift begins when you realize something simple. You are allowed to be unreachable, and you are still completely safe. The world will keep spinning. The posts will keep posting. The likes will like, or they won't. And you'll be here, breathing, resting, whole. Tonight, you don't need to be anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to perform. You're allowed to just be. So here we are, at the end of this journey, though really it's just beginning. We started with a restless heart, a glowing screen, a hunger that likes couldn't fill. We walked through the wisdom of the Stoics, those ancient philosophers who understood that peace comes not from controlling the world, but from releasing the need to. We remembered that you cannot control the algorithm, the audience, the approval, but you can control your attention, your values, the story you tell about what you need to be okay. Maybe the fear of not being liked was really a fear of meeting yourself here, in the silence, without the noise to distract you from your own company. The Stoics knew something we're only now remembering. Happiness doesn't come from being admired. It comes from being aligned, living according to what you actually value, not what you think you should value. We don't have all the answers. The ancient philosophers didn't either. But we have practices, small, humble practices, like placing the phone down, like noticing the breath, like remembering again and again your worth was never in question. So tonight, let the world scroll on without you. Let the numbers do what numbers do. Let strangers have their opinions, their judgments, their endless scrolling. You're here now, in this library between centuries, where the rain falls and asks nothing of you, where the candle burns and doesn't need applause. The world can wait, your mind can rest. Tonight, philosophy will watch over you as you sleep, and when you wake, you'll still be whole.
Good night.